Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Everyday ADV. In this episode, we're going to be flushing the brake system, both front and rear, because we have some contamination in our brake fluid causing buildup. As you can see in the rear reservoir, there is clear liquid up top and then some buildup down below from some contamination. So we're going to flush the system and try to get this contamination out. We're going to do a reverse flush and push it through the caliper back to the reservoir to try to get this contamination totally removed without adding it back through the system. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need to gain complete access to the lid. So we're going to remove this Allen bolt. Once it's removed, this pops right out. And now we have complete access. Next step in the process is we want to set up our syringe so that we can extract some of the, or all of the contaminated fluid. But we want to attach a length of tube to the syringe using one of the zip ties. And you just zip tie it to the end. Makes it very easy to get into tight spaces and collect the fluid as you go. So this is what it looks like inside of our reservoir. Now that is not ideal, especially since the fluid enters the system through the bottom of this reservoir. So now that we have everything in place, let's simply take our tube, push it down into there. And it's not super thick. It's not actually as thick as I was expecting it to be. But this tube allows us to remove all this excess contaminated liquid. So for the next step of this process, we're moving to the caliper to push the brake fluid through the system into the reservoir. In order to do that, we're going to need to set up another syringe, clean syringe. We're going to attach the tube in the same way. I've doubled down on my zip ties just to be extra sure that no air and no air gets in, no fluid gets out. And then the other end we're going to attach to the caliper back here. Before we attach it, we're going to load the syringe with our brake fluid and get all the air out. Now that we have the tube attached, we can start to push the fluid through from the syringe to the reservoir. Now, as a side note, does the step of putting the tube onto the nipple suck? Absolutely. Once it's on though, you're good to go. Okay, now that we're ready to start pushing the liquid through the brake system, we're just going to need to crack the system open by using a 9mm wrench, and then we gently push the liquid, the brake fluid through the system. Okay, so we are about 15 milliliters in, and the reservoir is about full again. So we're going to go ahead and close the valve, locking it off, and we'll take a look at the fluid that came through the system, and this is the reason that we're doing it this way. So as we look at the fluid that pushed through our brake system, we see that the cloudy contaminated fluid is still being removed from the system itself. So we're going to again extract this fluid in the same way that we did the first time. Now that we've cleared the reservoir again, we're going to continue to push fluid through the system and see how it looks after this run. So we open it back up. It's about a quarter turn, and we continue to press fluid through the system, watching the reservoir fill up slowly. As the reservoir fills up this time, we can see that the fluid is much more clear, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to go ahead and cycle this liquid out one more time to ensure that we have the cleanest system that we can. Okay, you can clean out these reservoirs in numerous ways, but what I'm going to do today is use a cotton swab to just wipe around, make sure that all the contaminated liquid has been removed from the reservoir itself. Okay, before we do the last fill, I do want to compare and contrast the fluid that was in the brake system, clearly contaminated, to what we are putting in now. So side-by-side comparison, you can see how the fluid is different. Okay, and this is the last fill, so we're going to open up our valve one more time and fill our brake fluid reservoir to the appropriate depth. Go ahead and close the valve. Make sure it's nice and sealed, and we are ready to remove our system. So now the reservoir is filled, the system is closed, and we're ready to test to feel the difference. Okay, now that we've finished that process on the rear brake and we've tested it and made sure that the rear brake is functioning properly, we're going to move to the front brake and check to see if there's any contamination in that portion of the system. The first step in checking for contamination in the system is to unscrew the top of the reservoir to see if there's any buildup in the same way there was in the rear brake reservoir. So all we need is a Phillips head screwdriver, and we'll unscrew these 4 screws. Now that we have the brake system opened up, let's take a peek inside and see if there's any buildup or contamination. So this looks perfect. I'm not going to bleed this system because it is in good working condition, and I'm happy with the color and the function of the braking system. Because it's all in good working order, just going to take a look at the rubber seal. We're going to make sure that it's in good condition, then we're going to place it back on, and we're going to put the cover back on the reservoir as well and screw it down. Okay, now the system's all sealed back up. We'll check the brakes again, and they're still in the good working condition. If we were going to change the fluid because some sort of contamination had occurred and it looked like the fluid on the rear reservoir, we would go back through the same processes. Thank you for watching this episode of the Everyday ADV. Remember to like and subscribe if any of this information has helped you. We're going to be uploading some Ibex 450 videos in the coming days. Thank you.